Well, ever since I was a little kid, if you asked me what do you want to be when you grow up, I would tell you I want to be a famous singer. My cousins and I, one cousin in particular, we would put on plays. We would make up our own plays, and then sometimes we would just act out, Phantom of the Opera was really big at the time, and Les Mis, and we would turn the music on and go in the living room and dance and act and pretend that we were doing everything, and just loved doing that and anything having to do with music. And then grew up in a really small town in northern Mexico, and there just wasn't a whole lot of opportunity, but I took lessons and took a little bit of voice lessons and took piano lessons and had a few opportunities with choir and plays and stuff like that in the high school, but really didn't get a chance to do a whole lot until I went away to college. And I went to BYU, Idaho, and pursued a degree in vocal performance. And I actually initially started in piano because that's what I had the most training in, was piano. And so I started my music degree with the piano emphasis and started developing a little bit of carpal tunnel. And so my teacher said, well, why don't you just take a semester off from all that piano practicing, from spending 2 to 3 hours a day practicing the piano, and still do all your music classes, but maybe, is there another instrument or something that you like? And I said, well, I've always loved to sing, but just never really done lessons or anything like that. And he said, great, take some voice lessons. And so I started taking voice lessons and fell in love. Literally just was completely blown away once I started learning more about how my voice worked and how to use it better, and just learned really fast and excelled really quickly and had a lot of fun opportunities. And I remember at one point a teacher saying, after a performance, saying, we could record that and we could sell that. This is something that you could pursue as a career. So my plan was, I had 1 more year left to graduate and get my degree, and then my plan was to move to Europe, where they have opera houses in every little tiny town and city, and there's much more opportunity for developing your career that way. And so that was my plan. And then I met my husband and fell in love. I had a choice to make. I could choose whether to give up my dream of singing and performing and developing a career in favor of getting married and having a family, or whether to just keep going with my dream of becoming a famous singer. And I remember asking a teacher, one of my vocal teachers, what her advice was, and she was not married and wanted to be. And she said, Danicia, I have that. I have the career. And she says, it doesn't mean anything because I don't have my family to share it with. I don't have someone to share that with. And that right there was my answer. And so we got married, started having kids, finished my degree still and everything, started having kids. We now have 5 boys whom I love so much, but I've always just kind of believed that I gave up that dream of being a famous singer and having that career in order to be a wife and a mom. And I know that that's the most important thing. I know that the work that we do in the home is more important than anything else and brings us more joy than doing anything else. I know that. But kind of in the back of my mind, I always had this I gave that up. I could have done this other thing and I could have been famous. Who knows if I would have even been famous, right? But in my dream. Fast forward about 16 years, and I taught lessons. I had some opportunities here and there to perform in local theaters and to do some stuff. And I took lessons off and on to keep my voice in shape and everything because I love it and I love doing it, but really didn't really pursue it a whole lot. And about a year or so ago, I started having these ideas, these nudges, these promptings of, maybe it's time. Maybe you should start pursuing this more again. Maybe you should try and do more. Maybe you should, and just not really listening or just being like, no, remember we left that. We're sticking with the mom thing. I lost my chance, basically, was what I thought a lot of the time, was just, I lost my chance to do that. I'm too old now. I missed my opportunity. But then I was in Zumba, I was getting my groove on, and the thought popped into my head that maybe now is actually the perfect time. Maybe I didn't miss my chance, and maybe I was doing exactly what should, and life was going exactly as it should. My youngest was going to be starting kindergarten in a year. I had a little bit more freedom. I didn't have the little kids that needed as much attention. And maybe it wasn't a matter of this or that. Maybe it was both. Maybe it was taking a stand for the and choosing to be a wife and a mom and pursue my dreams. And that by putting God's work first and doing what I knew was important to do first, it was just a matter of timing. It was just a matter of Him letting me know now's the time.